There is no guard. No siren. No gun. Only a light. Red. Amber. Green. You stop not because someone told you to. You stop because you've been trained to. And you obey, almost without thought. That is what makes it so effective. You see, the traffic light is not merely a safety device. It is not a neutral piece of civic technology. It is, in fact, a brilliant example of modern discipline that is silent, automated, and self-imposed. No need for an officer at every junction. No need for confrontation. Just the rhythm of obedience, repeated until it becomes instinct. It is, in many ways, the perfect micropanopticon. Because power here is no longer visible, it is internalized. You begin to obey the light as if it were law. And the fact that no one is watching becomes irrelevant. The possibility of being watched has already done the work. But let's not be naive. This is not about traffic. This is about training. Training a society to follow signals without resistance. Training bodies to pause, to yield, to move on command. And what is most fascinating, most insidious, is how this mode of discipline is wrapped in the language of protection. Of efficiency. Of order. We are told that the traffic light exists to prevent chaos. And perhaps it does. But only by producing a deeper form of control, the kind you don't question, because you no longer see it. Now step back. Look at the city. Traffic lights are everywhere, but they are just the beginning. They are the entry-level interface between body and system. But follow the logic and you'll see. The same rhythm governs your workday. Your commutes. Your appointments. Your deadlines. Red means wait. Green means go. Amber means be alert, you're being watched. And you obey. What happens to a society when its very infrastructure becomes a silent instructor? What happens when architecture itself disciplines the body without ever raising its voice? The traffic light, like so much of modern infrastructure, is not passive. It is pedagogical. It teaches. It corrects. It normalizes. Until one day, we forget that we had a choice. We forget that the light was once just a bulb, not a command. So the question is not whether you follow the rules. The question is, who benefits from your obedience? And what deeper rhythm is being written into your flesh each time you stop at a junction, not because you must, but because you have learned to? This is not freedom. This is choreography. When you stopped at that empty red light last night, alone on the road, no cars in sight, no officer nearby. Was that safety? Or was it proof that the discipline has already succeeded? Do you follow the traffic rules even when no one is watching? When we reflect on the traffic light, something so ordinary, so banal, we begin to see how thoroughly discipline has been embedded into our daily life, not through violence or visible authority, but through design and automation. The traffic light does not yell. It does not strike. It does not negotiate. And yet, we obey it faster than we obey each other. Now consider the strange irony: traffic often flows more efficiently when the lights are off. Roundabouts, four-way stops, even broken intersections, in these moments, drivers are forced to re-engage their faculties. They look. They gesture. They negotiate. In other words, the human returns to the street. Agency returns. Trust returns. But the traffic light has robbed us of these instincts. It replaces discretion with automation. And what's alarming is how quickly we've accepted this. We prefer being told what to do even if it slows us down to having to trust one another. That is the success of modern discipline. You mentioned something remarkable that deserves emphasis. Why do people stop at a temporary traffic light, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, when it's clearly safe to proceed? Because obedience is no longer a choice. It has become a reflex. This is what Foucault called the internalization of surveillance. We are not just being watched, we are now watching ourselves. We anticipate being seen. And that anticipation disciplines us more efficiently than any police officer could. So we sit at a red light in an empty field, because the authority has entered our flesh. And what of residential roads or country lanes? If traffic lights were purely about safety, why are they missing from the very places where risk is greatest? This tells us something profound. The light is not about protecting life. It is about organizing behavior, especially in zones where movement must be controlled for commerce, economy, labor, or flow. Power, in modernity, is not concerned with protecting you at all times. It is concerned with shaping populations in the places that matter to the state, cities, intersections, zones of transaction and transport. Let us also speak of congestion. We've all experienced the phantom traffic jam. You sit. You wait. No crash. No construction. Just delay. Then it clears, and you drive through emptiness. Was that congestion? Or was that a glitch in the choreography of control? What if this slowness is not accidental, but engineered? A mechanism to moderate flow, suppress chaos, or synchronize movement according to some algorithm we'll never see? Foucault would not call it a conspiracy, but a rationality. A form of governmentality, in which power manages life by managing rhythm, space, and circulation. And finally, let us talk about what is lost. We lose the subtle forms of human interaction, the look, the wave, the shared decision. We lose the ability to say, I see you, and I trust you. Instead, we are trained to say, I see the light, and I obey it. Even our morality, our sense of right and wrong on the road, is now governed by color and timing. This is not freedom. This is choreography. So while some may dismiss this reflection as trivial, it's just a traffic light, you and I understand that power hides best in the ordinary. Because once discipline becomes naturalized, once we cannot imagine behaving otherwise, then it has done its work perfectly. If you knew no one was watching, truly no one, would you behave the same way? And if not, who have you really been obeying all this time?